There is a lot of vehicles under $50,000, a massive variety of vehicles that are in that price range, that are high performance, that are fun to drive, that are just amazing cars in general. And we've had the opportunity to drive the majority of them that are in that price range.
You're correct.
And now, since we have had the opportunity to be behind the wheel of so many of these cars, we had to purchase the best one.
My neighbors may not be the biggest fan of me firing up that 550 plus horsepower early in the morning, but it sounds so good, but I'm willing to bet they like it. What I really enjoy about the F-Type is, like, it can be just completely calm, completely collective, and it's just completely silent in here as you zip down the road, enjoying your mid 20 mile per gallon. That's even around town if you're very friendly, right? It's a composed, comfortable car to drive. The tech with the blind spot and whatnot, that fills the gap for not being able to see anything. So it's a very easy car to drive. I enjoy that greatly about it on a daily driving standpoint. But what's fun, if you have that kind of frustrating day at work, or if, you know, you're just feeling like you need to let your hair down and live life a little bit, all you really need to do is come down here and you hit this exhaust button, and then you come over here and you pull this paddle to the left, and you hear your transmission that starts to shift, your RPMs go up, and then you give her one of these. This is genuinely a car I do not get sick of driving. And I have so much behind the wheel time. Like, let's just back up here. Back in 2021, I was in the exact same scenario. I was looking for the best sports car, the funnest car I could find under $50,000. And I did it. I pulled the trigger on a 2015 F-Type R, the rear-wheel drive one, the rowdiest, could be considered the rowdiest F-Type ever made. That F-Type was genuinely the car I regret selling. I had it for a little bit over a year and I sold it. Now, almost 3 years later, we are back in the same boat looking for the best car we could find under $50,000. We'll talk about this specific one in just a moment because this takes it to a little bit of a different level. So let's take the F-Type R into context for this conversation.
There's a lot of different trims of the F-Type, so we are narrowing this down to the R, like my dad mentioned.
Right.
The R is the absolute best bang for your buck on any of the F-Type models. It is the 550 horsepower, 5-liter supercharged V8. That is not built from Ford. A lot of people get that mistaken. However, it's built in the same warehouse that the Coyote motor is built in. There is a few shared parts here and there, but ultimately this is a reliable engine. What people claim is unreliable about this car and what they're so worried about is coolant issues, coolant hoses, stuff overheating like plastic and stuff for coolant.
We'll get into all that fun stuff in the buyer's guide, right?
I'm just saying this car is not unreliable. The stuff that is unreliable about it is basic maintenance. We're going to go over all of that in another video. I'm just stating that because that's why people are scared of this car. That's why the car is priced where it is at. It is not unreliable. There's nothing about this car that is unreliable. Now, the F-Type R, 550 horsepower. It's a crazy, crazy high horsepower beast, and it is competing with vehicles like the Porsche 911 Turbo, the Audi R8, the Nissan GT-R. It is also competing with the C7 Corvette Z06. All of these vehicles that I just mentioned are in a whole nother price category above the F-Type here. And they were all at a similar price at MSRP, but the F-Type has depreciated $20,000 to $30,000 less, like down below the value of those cars right now.
Yeah, Austin, you're completely right. So when you start cross-shopping the F-Type to what is in the same category, you're talking about like the Porsche Cayman or the Boxster, or you're talking about like a Toyota Supra or an M2. You're talking about maybe a Grand Sport Corvette versus the Z06,
all of
right?
these are amazing cars.
Great
all
cars.
of them are fantastic. But they were not built to compete with a $120,000+ supercar or Grand Tourer from the factory. There's no doubt about the fact that because of the depreciation that the F-Type has gone through, because of the reliability that the brand has, this car is depreciated so much that it makes it the greatest buy. Under $50,000.
I genuinely agree. It checks all the boxes. I've said this before, that I've had other cars where I say it's the ultimate Swiss Army knife. But the other car that I made that comment about was missing the rowdiness.
It was.
And that's what the F-Type has, is an absolute like rowdy personality. It can be a Grand Tour. You can be a completely civilized vehicle that can manage 25, 26, 27 miles per gallon, even commuting, not even on a road trip.
Which is what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
That is your experiences, and that's in the all-wheel drive one. That's
right.
not the rear-wheel drive, the 15.
So you have this car that can like be an amazing daily driver, but then take on the list of competitors like Austin mentioned. A low 3-second 0 to 60 time, high 2-second 0 to 60 time. That's the category that all the cars Austin listed were in. 10-second to 11-second quarter mile with trap speeds anywhere from like 120 to 127, 130-ish. That is the category that this car is competing in. That's pretty awesome when you're talking about the performance aspect.
Go look at some old Motor Trend posts. There's a reason that these cars were in the best drivers cars. Now, these cars that were in the best drivers cars, like we mentioned, competing with all these crazy supercars, are so much cheaper and nobody thinks about them. They all are overlooking this car when ultimately, if you're telling me that I could go buy a Toyota Supra with the B58 in it, or I could buy one of these, this car has better exterior, it has a way better interior, not even close to the same level. The quality is unbelievable. A better sound system, a better drivetrain. It's faster in every single regard ever.
You know what's funny is it even has the same transmission if it's an automatic, right?
That is true, yeah. It still has the ZF 8-speed. Like, it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me not that many people think about this car.
Yeah.
When ultimately, I think everybody should be when they're at the price point that they're at.
Absolutely.
Right now.
The car looks absolutely fantastic. So you have that going. I've never met anyone yet that has said that car looks dumb, that car looks stupid. It's the complete opposite. People are in awe with the looks of an F-Type. And that's fun. It makes you feel good, right? So this is the car that you can take out on a luxurious date night. It's the car that you can show up to a track event and not be embarrassed. It's the car that you can take to a car show and get to the front of the line. It's the car that little kids will ooh and ah over, but it's also the car that can just be completely civilized. Just a gentleman's cruiser. Another topic that we'll touch on in another video, but another reason like why you should run out and get one of these is like just last week, what the heck are we? We're in June of 2024. Like just last week, 2 weeks ago, the official end of the F-Type, the official end of the Jaguar gasoline motor, like it's done. You cannot buy a new F-Type after this year. The ones that are on the lots are done.
Will the F-Type become the Dodge Viper?
It absolutely will. And here's your proof, right? Look at the XK, the predecessor to the F-Type. Look at the ones, especially the ones that are the rare trims. The R is like, the RS. Like that used to be a $45,000, $50,000 car on the used market. Now it's a $65,000, $70,000, $75,000, $80,000 car on the used market.
Yeah.
So I fully believe the F-Type's going for that. It delivers such a unique experience compared to the competitors. I will be honest, in one of Austin and I's videos from back in 2021 when we compared an F-Type R 2015 to an F-Type R 2017, there were some changes that were substantial there. A big one being the fact that the 15 had hydraulic steering and all F-Types going forward have electronic steering. Now, I would be lying to say if the steering in the F-Type was absolutely flawless, but it is really good. If you put it into dynamic mode, it gets really heavy and it's really nice. But if you're just driving in the normal mode without engaging dynamic, it's spot on. It just doesn't give you the full feedback that you would have expected from, say, Austin's C5 Corvette. As far as the throttle response and the brakes, like, everything is on point. So just to give you guys a quick heads up, this is an SVR, it's not an R, and we will cover this car in full detail, getting it up on the lift and telling you guys what that SVR truly means. Yeah, you can read an article and understand that it's a little lighter and has a little bit more power and the interior might be a little nicer. But one of the coolest things I think is when you lift this up and start taking in the additional engineering that the SVR has. And we'll do that in a future video along with a buyer's guide, along with ownership experience, maintenance, and let's not forget a little bit of the rowdiness. There are better cars that brake better, that handle better. The closest car that would meet the criteria for performance as well as price tag on the used market would be a variant of the C7. Now, whether you're talking about the Grand Sport or maybe finding a Z06 that's higher mileage and beat up, it's possible to find that similar pricing. But what you don't have, in my opinion, is some of the luxurious touches that Jaguar offers. But what is fun, again, you can just cruise on this thing like you're driving around town, and it can scare the crap out of you I can't even talk. Like, it can scare the crap out of you at the same time if you start pushing it into corners, on those clover leaves, on those entrance ramps. Like, it bites hard, the claws come out, like the kitty cat goes wild, you want to get all weird on me, like meow. Like, it gets nutty in this thing to the point that it scares you enough that you have to back off a little bit. If you push the F-Type to its limits, you better be prepared. The ZF 8-speed is absolutely fantastic. You don't need to use the paddle shifters. Now, the F-Type gives you the option to use the handle that you shift into drive and reverse and park on, where you can go back and forth, and that's fun. But it also allows you to come up and do the paddles. Now, that can be fun, and I'll show you one of my favorite things with the paddles. It's the sound, it's the experience, not just the popping and banging. And we'll talk through that on a future video, but here's one of my favorite things, and I'm gonna explain it, and I'm gonna let you listen. Like, when you are under load, not full throttle, just kind of part throttle, and you shift under load. Let's see if we can pick it up on the mic. Pretty good, right?
And as a passenger in the F-Type, it is just an amazing experience the entire time. The exhaust is absolutely fantastic. Unlike some of the Corvettes, it feels like there's supposed to be a passenger in here. It is designed for a passenger. I have myself a handle. I have myself a spot to put both of my arms. I have this extremely comfortable seat that is, you know, it's power just like the driver. It has the active bolstering. It has all of the accessories and movements and power functions that the driver's seat has. I love the glass roof. I know the carbon roof's super cool. That is an option on the SVR, but the glass roof on all of these cars, such an amazing option. The light that comes into the interior in here is just absolutely beautiful. And the experience, it puts you back to your seat. You get scared as a passenger. It is so cool in both of these seats. Jag did such a good job aiming this car to be nothing but an amazing car for both the driver and the passenger.
In summary, driving the F-Type is an awesome experience. I've driven a lot of cars. Austin has as well. We've experienced a lot of cars. We've driven them. We've ridden in them. We've been in different environments in them. And like, this car genuinely makes me happy. The driving, whether it's just cool, calm, and collective with my commute to work, or if it's time to get rowdy with the boys, it does an excellent job putting a smile on my face. Austin, the truth of the matter is that there are faster cars. There are cars that handle better. There are cars that are more comfortable. There are cars that are cheaper. There are cars that are more reliable.
There are cars that are everything.
Yeah, there are different options that are better in each of those categories, but I have a very hard time finding one that covers all the categories and doing it as well as the F-Type does.
In the price range that the F-Type is in.
Exactly.
So I think that ultimately sums up why we think this is the best car in that price range. If you guys want to prove us wrong, let me know down in the comments below, because I'm genuinely curious if there's a car out there that we are not thinking of that is just going over our heads. If there's some car overseas that doesn't exist here that's just way better than the F-Type, I'm genuinely curious. Let me know down in the comments below what car you think is better than this for under $50,000, because I'm all ears to know, because I think it is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the video here on Performance on Wheels. Lots of videos are coming in the future, lots of previous ones as well. Check out our channel. We look forward to seeing you in the future. Have a great rest of your day.